you guys, Miss H here. I told you that I was going to give you a little video on how to do what we're going to do in art today. So here goes. We are going to work on today how to draw the moving figures like Keith Haring did, and this is going to be a practice page where you can get ideas out, mess up a bunch so that you can come up with some different ones that you like. By the end, you're going to end up just choosing one figure to draw on to your small white paper to then transfer onto your metal. But if you need to use every one of these spaces to get ideas out, I'm okay with that. That's a good thing to do, to have lots of choices of what you need to draw, okay? And then also today I'm going to show you how to use this small white paper and use the paper that you just did to pick one of your people and to draw it the right size on this paper, so then the next time I see you guys, it's ready to put onto your piece of metal, okay? So those are your two main things you're going to work on today. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and flip the camera around so that you can see my hands working and talk you through it so that you can get started on this today, okay? All right, guys, so here is what I want you to do. The first step always on anything that you get is to write your name. So you're going to go ahead and write your name on this space on this paper. This eventually is going to go in the trash, so I do not need you to write your shape and all that fun stuff on there. Just write your name on your paper, okay? This first step, it says trace me. So I want you to go ahead and take your pencil and you're going to trace on these dotted lines. The whole point of this is for you to kind of get the gist of how you're supposed to trace around your stick figures so that you can make figures that have some width to them instead of just stick people, okay? So I do want you to try that because I want you to get the feel of it with your pencil, okay? So now, then the rest of this space is for you to create your own figures. I do not want to see a bunch of these. This was my example. Now you are going to come up with your own people, okay? Some of you might need to use the stick figure and some of you might not, but I do encourage you to try it with it first just to see if it's easier for you. But once you get the hang of it, if you want to delete the stick figure and just do the outlines of it, you can totally do that. So what you're going to do first is come up with your stick figure. Notice how big my stick figure is. You're going to think about a movement that you can do. It could be something like a dancing move. It could be a karate move. It could be a sports move. It doesn't have to be something like dancing always, okay? So this person's going to be jumping up in the air, okay? So I have my stick figure. Notice that I have two small dots on the end. That's going to represent their hand because Mr. Kandinsky, or not Kandinsky, wrong artist, Mr. Haring did not put fingers and faces and things on his artwork. He just did the outline. So we're going to need to make sure we have those on there for that. These little short sticks are to represent the feet, okay? So what you're going to do now is you're going to take your pencil and you are just going to trace. You're going to make sure and give enough space between the stick figure and your outline, your tracing line, so that it has enough thickness to it, okay? Because if you don't give enough thickness to it, then the body's going to look too thin and it will still look like a stick figure. So in a moment, I will give you an example of what I mean by that so that you don't accidentally do that yourself. Okay, so now I have my stick figure outlined. On the real piece of art, you could then erase this to see your outlined figure and what it looks like. Now, you don't have to do that step on this piece of paper, but if you want to see what it looks like, you certainly may. You could also experiment with adding your motion lines. Okay, so the motion lines are where that leg or arm or head just came from. Okay, so this body just came from the ground and is jumping up, so these lines are going to be underneath him. If I put the lines up above him, it would look like he's jumping down, which if you wanted to make it look like that, you certainly could. Okay, so what I'm going to do right here now is I'm going to draw this same figure 2 more times, but I'm going to on purpose mess it up because I want to show you some mistakes that commonly people make, and I don't want you to make those same exact mistakes that people commonly make, okay? So I'm repeating the same figure but you guys are not going to repeat the same figure. Okay, you're going to come up with different figures so that you can have some different choices on your piece of art. Okay, so same stick figure. Here's the first common problem I see people do. I want you to see if you can figure out what I'm doing wrong while I'm doing this. Okay, does anyone have a guess of what I did wrong? Okay, hopefully you said that I traced way too close to the line. If I were to erase this figure on the inside, it would still look almost exactly like a stick figure, which is not what we want. This dude is way too skinny. So we do not want to do it like this, okay? Now I'm going to do this again. Same figure. And this time, I'm going to trace it a little bit differently. Okay, what did I do wrong here? Hopefully you said that I traced it way too big. I did not follow my stick figure lines at all, and I've got a really big blob. I want you to think about this. If you were to erase this stick figure, would this still look like a person jumping in the air? Absolutely not. It would be just a blob on a piece of paper. It would not look like a person at all. So when you trace, you've got to make sure that you follow along that stick figure line so that when you're done, this actually looks like legs and arms and a head and a neck, okay? So we don't want to do it like this. This is the correct way, okay? So what I want you to do now is you're going to fill in these spaces and come up with some different figures, some different moving figures to get some ideas, and then that way you'll be ready to pick one to put on here, okay? Once you get ready for this and you get done with this, what you're going to do is you're going to put a circle around the one that you are going to choose, and that is going to be the one you're going to transfer to this paper, okay? So let me show you how to do this. This is the exact same size as our metal, so we want to make it fit our metal. We do not want to draw a little bitty figure in the center of this because then our figure is not our main focus, okay? So what I like to do is I'm going to use my pinky. My pinky is going to be a little guide. I put it right on the edge of that white paper, and I'm drawing a line on the other side of my pinky. I'm going to repeat this on each side. And the whole purpose of this, guys, is to give you some guidelines, okay? If you want, you could come in here and draw this box around it. And that can be sort of like your tape border that we created last time on your metal. That way you know my figure needs to fill up this piece right here, this box, okay? So then when you draw your stick figure, just like you did over here, you're gonna make sure that stick figure is really close to some lines. So my head is really close to this line, not touching, okay, but it's really close to that line. My hands are really close to this edge. And the bottom of my body is really close to this bottom edge. And so that way I know my figure is big enough, and that way it's taking up enough space, okay? Because we don't want it to be too tiny. Then you're going to do this step again, the tracing step. And remember, this one will be the one that you're going to be putting onto your metal. So you want it to look as nice as possible. So you're just going to trace around the edges. Okay, and then you have two choices. You could go ahead and erase the stick figure in the middle if you want to, or if you don't want to take the time to erase, you can put some X's on that stick figure line, and I would do them all around. And what that tells you is when I am tracing this onto my metal, do not trace this line. We don't want to trace the stick figure, okay? We want that stick figure to stay on this white paper. So if you want to, erase the stick figure on the inside or just put X's on it like I just did, okay? So now our piece of art needs a background. So all we're going to do is draw a line for the ground, okay? and we're going to remember to put our motion lines in there. Okay, and then you need a pattern on the top and a pattern on the bottom. Do simple, big patterns. Polka dots, stripes, zigzags, swirls, something simple and big. So in this background, I'm going to put myself some big swirls. Nice and big and spaced out. Okay, and then on the bottom here, I think I'm going to do some diagonal stripes. Okay, now at this point, this piece is done and it would be ready for me to put onto my metal. Okay, so we'll do the metal portion of this next time whenever I'm here. If you don't quite get done with this one, that's okay. I do want you to go ahead and put your name on it. It can be on the front or the back, I don't care, so that we know whose piece it is, so that way when we clean up today, you can put these together and they will go in the same stack. Okay, so ask your substitute teacher if you have any questions, but hopefully this is a good enough review for you of what you need to do today. We want to try to finish this portion today, but if we don't get that far today, it's okay. At least I want you to start working on this so that when we return together, we can put it on our metal. Okay? All right, I hope you guys have fun, do great, take your time, and work hard. I'll talk to you later.